¿Aquí por la bolsa?
No. After you have the tickets? Yeah. 4? This way. Oh, hello. They're taping?
Maybe.
Yeah. Done? No? Okay.
Hey there, we're back. Ahorita vamos. Graduation UCLA.
I would also like to thank you for affording us, the members of our faculty, the opportunity to be your teachers, mentors, and well-wishers. Every time we teach, it enriches us within. Similarly, I hope you will not deprive yourselves of this pleasure. Regardless of the profession you choose, there will always be that scope for imparting a bit of what you have learned to others. In this way, you will rediscover for yourselves that education indeed is one of the highest endeavors of mankind. In the midst of the violent turmoil facing us today, education is an antidote to banality, discrimination, and insolvency of spirit. I also hope that your education at UCLA has allowed you to be curious and inquisitive. The ability to ask yourself a good question. The most impressive of careers can dull out for the lack of analysis and introspection, and the most repetitive of professions can come alive if only you asked why. And what an opportunity you have to ask that question. Biological sciences have undergone historic changes in the last 5 years. Medical and life sciences are about to see their greatest transformation in 100 years. Do not be a bystander. Ask why and how and get involved at the forefront of this revolution. If you don't, then who will? Finally, please do enjoy the process. I love this one story that I have told at one of these gatherings in the past. It is from a poem that I learned as a child. A man was in search of a touchstone, the magic stone that would turn all metal to gold. With a chain around his waist, he picked up every pebble that he found and touched to see if it would do the trick. Through the years of his search, he lost his conviction and resolve, but mechanically continued the process. With matted hair and disdainful abandon, he simply picked up every stone and threw them out after touching them automatically to his chain. Then one fine morning, a little boy came up to him and said, "How come your chain shines so brightly?" Like a madman, he looked at the chain. It had turned to gold, but alas, he had thrown the pebble away. He was too weak and worn out to start his hunt. That you find that touchstone and pray that you have the wisdom to know how to look for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Gopal Banerjee. What I want to say, I have to say in a short time. And I can't help but, first of all, congratulate you all over again to graduate and to have not just, I hope, jumped through all the hoops that we managed to construct for the graduates, for the undergraduates, but more specifically, to have gotten hold of something that interests you, that drives you on, and that makes life enjoyable. I also want to congratulate the families and friends who've come here, the parents, and who express a degree of friendship and love, which is very difficult to describe, continues throughout a lifetime, and is just wonderful to make us human. Now, there's so many things to ask. What's for next? And what I want to ask, first of all, is could I have a show of hands of how many people really have decided what they're going to do, who are going to graduate now? Okay, thanks. That's an idea. That's pretty good. I walked around Berkeley after commencement a year ago, and 1 in 10 knew in a different area. Okay, molecular and cell biology, developmental biology, is, as Banerjee told you, at a remarkable point of explosion, of development, and we hope that you, in various ways, will contribute to it. Now, what's next? I have to go to the past for a moment. What brought me to the United States was a little bit of very important American history that I learned in high school in Britain. It was the Declaration of Independence, and it was 3 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, John Adams, and the original man who developed it all, who had 100 slaves and wrote that we take it as natural, self-known, that all men are born equal. And what also brought me here was the terrible Civil War that made that equality come closer. Now, why do I bring this up? Because there's a balance of equality and elitism, which is fantastic in the United States. It's expressed right here in the University of California. You are the top 10% of high school people, or among them, and yet everyone potentially has the chance for university education. And the question really is, what's next? What are you 10% going to do for the remaining 90%, for the remaining part of your life? Well, that has a lot of serious considerations, but you're at the prime of life. It's a great time, and we do want you to enjoy it and to be active to do it. But there are these others. And I feel, I suppose the easiest way to say it is, I feel a little hot under the collar in this regalia. What is this garment of regents and kings doing in a republic? And I have to think of something else. I have to think of patients, of human beings. This is a hospital gown, borrowed from a hospital, which has saved my life 3 times over. And what is the difference between me here and the guys in South Central, who may also, for serious reasons, be wearing a hospital gown? I got wonderful treatment. I hope they did. And the basic question to that one is that it's very, very expensive to have decent health care. It's so much a problem that nobody knows how to deal with it. That be it in socialist countries like Scandinavia or be it in most capitalistic countries, it's always too much money. Now, what's the solution? I think, while it's a dream, this is America. This is a practical world. And Benjamin Franklin, among many other things, apart from signing the Declaration of Independence, invented the lightning conductor. What would the cost of insurance be against fire of thatched roofs all over the United States if there weren't a lightning conductor? That is, if there weren't a jump into modernity. And I think that molecular, cell, and developmental biology and you can in various ways bring that jump into what's next and save a whole bunch of money and a whole set of pain and trouble and lying in a hospital. Now, that may be a dream, but let me point out that as a child, I got a disease, an infectious disease called scarlet fever, and I spent 4 weeks in an isolation hospital. How much did that cost? Well, I benefited from it, but nowadays, a few shots of antibiotic, and you go on. The infectious disease is gone. We can't predict all the things that can be done, but lots will be. And at this point, I have to switch for a moment, and I hope my time isn't going out too long. If you have to consider me, yes, as Professor Fessler, yes, as John Fessler, in a gown or in a hospital gown. If you take a ballpoint pen and you take the ball tip, the tiny little tip, if that were taken from my or your body, it would contain 1 million cells. You and I are a pile of trillions of cells. That's a big number with lots of zeros, but just think, if in Greater Los Angeles, some 10 million people are there, if you took a ballpoint pen's tips worth of cells from each of them and put them together, that would just about make one of us. That's the number of cells we have. And each of those cells are you, specifically you, forensically you, identifiable by the DNA which shares with the rest of mammals 95, 97+%, and yet is uniquely you. This is too difficult to comprehend, that we are individual, responsible human beings, and we're a pile of these cells. Wonderful. This pile of cells starts off as one cell made in love and expands to this vast number. And we couldn't have kept going if some of those cells had not been set aside as so-called stem cells. And to understand what those stem cells might be doing and what can be done with them to help human beings, they have to be studied. Now, every piece of science can be taken for the good or for the bad. And it has been decreed that stem cells should only be studied in very, very limited ways because of the fear of the bad part. But we have to be human beings. We have to be whole, responsible human beings without losing sight of the fact that we have cells in us which could be used for so much good and which can turn to cancer and do so much bad. Yes, there's both, but I think we can tackle that and we can do it. Well, I've talked a lot about all sorts of things. I should go back to academia. I can make a Latin quotation. Cogito ergo sum. The philosopher and mathematician Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. I would like to add that I have compassion, and therefore I'm human. And I hope that somehow you can help, not just in research, but in genetic counseling, being translators for the rest of the educated voters, of all voters of the United States, to deal with these persons sensibly. And just in case you think that DNA is too complicated and too worrisome and shouldn't be touched, remember, over 100 innocent prisoners, some of them from death row, have been released on the basis of DNA that proved their innocence. I hope all the best, and I hope that you have a great day.
At the time, I was very interested in the issues of molecular biology that was just developing as a field at that time, and genetics and development. But it wasn't possible to major in that at that time. And so my dream would have been to design the sort of major that you folks are taking today. So that's very exciting. And okay, so before I introduce the awards here, I just wanted to say that it's a wonderful thing to be a member of this department, particularly from the point of view of not only what outstanding scientists are, the professors in the department, but also the really wonderful job I feel that we do teaching the undergraduates. And this is, again, particularly important to me because I was an undergraduate here, and I know how important it is when you're sitting in a class that it's really interesting. And so I just wanted to point out to you, before I give the awards to the undergraduates, the extraordinarily talented teaching that is going on in our department. And so I would like to point out that both Professors Robert Goldberg and Paul Banerjee here have been recognized at the highest level for their teaching. So both of them received their UCLA-wide Luckman Distinguished Teaching Awards. Yes. But that's only the beginning. Okay. Both of them received the Gold Shield Alumni Award. This is for teaching, service, and outstanding research. And they both received that award. Okay, and there's more. And so within this last year, this is truly extraordinary. You probably are aware of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and they set up a competition for what's called the Howard Hughes Million Dollar Professors. So the most outstanding researchers and teachers in the entire country. And over 200 people applied for this. And in the entire country, there are only 20 of these million-dollar professors. And I would like to tell you that both Dr. Goldberg and Dr. Banerjee received this award and are using it to start new undergraduate research classes. And it's really extraordinary. Both of them. I would also like to say that another extraordinary member of our department with respect to teaching undergraduates is Dr. Jean Perry. And, well, that just tells you something right there, doesn't it? And she received the UCLA-wide Distinguished Teaching Award a year or two ago, and so we're extremely proud of her and very grateful to have her in our department.
Yeah, cheating!
And then also I'd like to say two other individuals, I think, they don't seem to be here, but who many of you I'm sure have had classes from, and that's Dr. Leanna Johnson and Dr. John Merriam. I think many of you have had classes from them. And they received this year the first Provost's Award for Innovation in Educational Technology. And that was also a very big honor. So I just want to say, so that's the conclusion of my remarks before I give the awards, that just to be in this department and sort of have the outstanding example of these people doing a wonderful job teaching is quite an honor. Okay, so I will now go on to present I'm going to present the Undergraduate Research Award first. And so there are two people who are receiving the Undergraduate Research Award. And we have many students doing independent research in our department, and they all do a wonderful job. And then, so it was very difficult for the committee to pick among these outstanding candidates. But here are the two people that they came up with. And so our first awardee is Diana Elizabeth Labuda. And this is from the letter of her mentor, Dr. Karen Lyons. And so what Dr. Lyons, Dr. Lyons said that Diana is the most productive student I have ever mentored, and I have to say, knowing Dr. Lyons' high standards, that's praise indeed. Easily on par with my best graduate students. Her interactions with others in the lab are on a very sophisticated level. She is a co-author on a paper that we recently published in the prestigious journal Development, and she will be author on a second paper based on her studies. And in addition to getting this award from our department, she won a UCLA Dean's Prize for Excellence in Undergraduate Research. She was selected as an Ingram Scholar. Further, she is one of only four UCLA students who were selected by the Council on Undergraduate Research to present her work on Capitol Hill this spring to Congress. And there's more. Don't go away. She's been awarded a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship, which she will take with her to Harvard University as she begins her doctoral studies this fall. Okay, so the next awardee for undergraduate, for senior research is Kaivan Zainabadi. And from Kaivan's mentor, Eric Srivatsan, says, Kaivan has been an integral part of our laboratory and made significant contributions to our research on cervical cancer. He is one of the best undergraduate students I have trained in my laboratory. He is first author on a manuscript published in the UCLA Undergraduate Science Journal and is co-author on a manuscript published in the peer-reviewed journal Oncogene, and will be first author on 2 other manuscripts. He has earned a Howard Hughes Undergraduate Fellowship, a UCLA Dean's Prize for Excellence in Undergraduate Research, and the American Association for Cancer Research Science Education Award. And Kaivan was also a combination of outstanding grades and outstanding research. Basically, there's so many wonderful people and so many great undergraduates, we have to recognize them. And so, this outstanding senior award is to Rupa Narayan. Woo! And Rupa did her research.
To tell you, members of the audience, that your loved ones who are graduating here today are graduating from one of the toughest science majors at UCLA. You should be very, very proud of them, as we have already said that we are, and will continue to say we're very proud of our graduates. Our first graduate, they were also given 60 words, which I call words of wisdom, in which to say anything that they wanted to say while they graduate, and I'll be reading those words as they walk up onto the stage. Our first graduate is Michael David Ash. Here, I walk away today proud of being a Bruin and ready to face the next step. Janice Diana Canaria. Shireen Chen. I want to thank my family for their unconditional love, support, and encouragement. They are the backbone of my being and have instilled their strength, wisdom, and kindness in me. Thank you, MCDB professors, for feeding my curiosity and nourishing my passion to learn. Class of 2003, wherever you go, go with all your heart. Shoot for happiness and you'll hit success. Stephen Lingwei Chen. And also a big thanks to the makers of Diet Coke, Doritos, and all other unrefined carbohydrates for fueling me through the long study nights. Teresa Lynn Cottenham. I thank God who made this glorious day a reality for me. I thank my family and friends who continue to be a well of support and motivation. Finally, I thank all of you who served as on-call babysitters as I finished research projects or attended class. This moment is dedicated to my inspiration, my chubba cheeks, my daughter Nyla. Tan H. Dan. It has been a great... Thank you to the friends I have made for always making me laugh. Dr. Gaddy, thanks for providing me with the opportunity to learn and discover things I didn't know I was capable of accomplishing. Thank you to my parents and family for their love, support, and guidance. Although the bank of Mom and Dad is now shutting its doors, I think you made a good investment. Thank you for allowing me to spread my wings and come to UCLA. Garcia. I would like to thank my family for their continued support, my mentors at the Children's Clinic for exposing me to scientific research, and my friends for helping me to forget both school and science. I will move forward with knowledge and experience I've gained at UCLA as I pursue my PhD in cancer biology at Stanford this fall. Sherilyn Eriso Go. Roberta Hernandez. Thanks, Dad, for the money. Think of it as an investment, and for helping me out when things got rough. Mom, for your home cooking. Kathy, for sending me files when my computer wasn't cooperative. Eddie, for being the first in the family to attend college. Jeanette, for being there. Dr. Lingyel, for your research guidance. And Armando, for completing me. Kaiben Sun Hu. This is it. This is what I've been looking forward to for the past year, graduating from UCLA and starting the new chapter in my life, yet I still cannot believe graduation is really here and now. The past 4 years have been absolutely incredible. I will forever cherish many memories. Thank you to my parents for their unconditional support and to all my wonderful friends with whom I've made these memories. Heather Suzanne Johnson. What can I even say at a time like this? I can't even accept the fact that I am graduating at this very moment. I've learned a lot over the last 4 years, both about life and about cell development, molecular, whatever. I'd like to thank my friends and family for their support and for their words of wisdom. Shreya Kapoor. Graduation has come a lot faster than I expected. My years at UCLA were the most... I would like to thank my family and friends, but especially my parents, for all of their support and the sacrifices they have made so that I can stand here before you today. I could never have done it without you. I will never forget the time I've spent here or the people I've met. I love you all. Go Bruins! Julia Hee-Won Kim. Oh, and my thanks to Pamela for hooking me up with commencement tickets. He was late. Sylvia C. Koo. I am so proud to be graduating with an MCDB major from UCLA, for our professors and courses were challenging yet effectively well taught. I wouldn't have successfully made it without the financial, spiritual, and emotional support I received from my 4 parents and 3 lovely sisters. Thank you for your patience and unconditional love. Hope I've made you guys proud. Anne Kromsky. And I have to apologize to you. Anne's name didn't appear in the program because she had an information restriction, and we got to that a little late. But she's graduating anyway. I want to thank my parents, Alex and Marina Kromsky, for their enduring support. You are my pride and inspiration. I also want to thank my fiancé, Alex, for his continuing support. This past decade has been an important milestone for all of us, and every day brings new and exciting opportunities. Just as FDR said, this country has never begun, but every day is on the verge of the beginning. Vi Fung Le. graduation marks an accomplishment, not of mine, but that of my family and friends who have continually given me their love, support, and guidance. Thank you. Chris, thank you for that. Ernesto Ivan Leon. I have learned to be grateful, show sincerity, and exhibit modesty. UCLA gave me opportunity, and I am grateful. My family provided me with support, and for that I am thankful. But my mother taught me the largest lesson in life, compassion, and for that I am eternally indebted. As I look back at my life, I will say thank you. George, I love you so much. I'm buying you Mercedes-Benz and a house in Hawaii after med school. I've been fortunate enough to know, thanks for making LA my home away from home. You've been the best friends and mentors one could ask for, and the times we've shared will be forever remembered. To my family, thanks for your continuous support. I hope I've made you proud. Oh, yeah. By the way, Mom and Dad, I got a tattoo. I got to deliver that news. Dan Meloy. The most important lesson I've learned, it is never too late to turn your life around. Anything is possible with friends and family like those I've been blessed with. The Cutie Bunch, thank you for laughter and good food that never failed to wipe away bad grade worries. Xavier for unfailing support, and my family for pushing me to always take that extra step. It has made all the difference. Ricardo Venancio Lopez. I humbly dedicate this accomplishment to my family and dear loved ones. A special thank you goes to those. Sana Mahmood. I would like to thank my mom, dad, and Anwar for all of the love and support that they have given me throughout this college's experience, as well as my friends, not only for their support, but for making this experience a memorable one. Stephen Maximus. Well, okay then. Thanks first of all to God. My heart and appreciation goes to my mom, who taught me the true meaning of hard work. She means everything to me, and her sacrifice made my success possible. Thanks also to my brother Tom, whose love and respect for me is unwavering. We will always be brothers, and nothing can break that bond. Thanks to Kim, my best friend. Well, it's over. 4 years of partying, studying, cramming, pulling all-nighters, and of course, occasionally going to class. I want to thank my members for their help. Thank you, Dr. Uriel, Dr. Perry, and Dr. Miriam for being great professors. Congratulations, class of 2003. May the force be with you on the road ahead. James Allen Natividad. In the past few years, I have gone through some psychotic episodes directly resulting from studying for MCDB, but it looks like I managed to retain a bit of sanity. Thank you to all the professors who made an effort to teach us, to my family for supporting me, and to Becky, Bimal, Ron, Cher for good times. Christy Trango. You believing in me. May God bless you always. Peter Sung No. Education is a progressive discovery of our own ignorance, Will Durant. I have never found this to be more true than my experience at UCLA. Coming to UCLA, I thought I knew everything, but discovered myself to be more and more ignorant about the world I knew. The professors not only taught us the core foundations from decades of research, but challenged us with science's own ignorance at the cutting edge of research. In the objective life of college, I discovered my parents and found out I never truly knew them until I was away. I've never been more proud of my father for how hard he works for my family, and appreciate my mother for making my home more than the house in which I lived. I'd like to thank my friends for making the best years of my life, the best memories of my life, which I'm sure will remain our fondest experience in education. Catherine T. Nguyen. Gamma Zeta Alpha that supports. Fortunate to have friends at home that deter me from going down the wrong path. I would just like to say thank you. Bimal Jason Rajkumar. "22 years ago, my parents left a small island in the Indian Ocean to live out the American dream. I would like to thank them for their sacrifice, hard work, and constant support. I'd also like to thank Alvin, the best little brother ever, James, Cher, and Ronald, my MCDB lunch group, and Natalie, the nicest person in my lab. Marshawn Rashidi. "4 years have gone by incredibly fast, but if there is anything that the past 4 years good, and I love you so much." Carol Hyunjung Song. This will show you some of the creativity of our majors. "In 60 words or less, my life's been somewhat like gel electrophoresis. There were so many factors that worked to stymie my progress, but a good thing my extraordinary family and the awesome people around me charged me up to counter these hindering forces. I realized, too, that what's ultimately moving me forward is a power at large, pulling me along the current toward the goal. I wanted to thank everyone who made this day possible." Nami Song. Knowledge with me and helping me grow into the person I am today. It's not how you start, but how you finish. Sarah Marie Welker. "I would like to thank God for allowing this day to finally come. I'd also like to thank my mom and dad, my family, Robert, Pat, and Kathy for all of their love and support. I would never have made it without all of your help." Karen Garling Wong. "To my parents, 25 years and 3 kids later, you're finally home free. I'm sure at this very moment, you're taking one big and well-deserved sigh of relief. Thank you both for all your hard work, dedication, and support. I just hope that I can return the favor someday." Simon Kayit Wong. "Despite a well-framed diploma adorning your living room wall, which is lost by graduating. For example, the student rate movie tickets, interest-free loans, and the independent life. But most important, the simple joys of campus life, the flyers offered as you hike up Bruin Walk, the tunes your voice plays every hour, and the strange faces met on your way to class." Alan H. Wu. "My mom, who walked me through my problem reading English 8 years ago. My brother and sister, who are such excellent examples and always there when I encounter problems. Last but not least, my friends who made fun when I first chose MCDB. Well, guys, eat this. I finally made it. I just want to say today I stand here because of all of you. Thank you." Stephanie Chaling Yang. Stephanie also wrote this poem. "Two roads diverge in UCLA scenery, and sorry I could not travel both. One up north to humanities, but the one down south was for me, for MCDB leads to real growth. Although molecules were much fun, PCR is not my preference. For Vanderbilt Medical School, here I come. Perhaps I'll make a difference. Thanks, Mom and Dad." Tamar Gareen Yeralian. Arthur Armin Yusefian. "My parents came to America looking for a better opportunity for their only son, and it is my hope that I have made them proud today, as they have made my life enjoyable for the past 22 years. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for everything you ever did for me. Your support and effort was never unappreciated, and I owe today and everything that has led up to today to you. Kelly Yu. And for the graduating class, I hadn't heard from her at all throughout the last month, and so I thought she wasn't coming. This is Aisha Erbilgen. See why I needed that? Another one of our graduating class. I'm very sorry. And now we're
congratulations once again. I also think we owe a vote of thanks to Pamela Hurley. These words of wisdom, or wow as we call them, are unique to this department, I think, and I think it's all Pamela's creation, and I think she bonds with the undergraduates really well because of that. I also want to declare Dr. Jeannie Perry as the most hugged person in the world. The department owes her a teddy bear as an award. Now I would like to invite a few of my faculty just to say a couple of words in congratulatory notes. Professor Bernard Finney,
please. To those in the first three rows. And congratulations to your friends who are behind you. Now, how many of you have heard me give lectures? How many have heard me give lectures amongst this class? I see nobody. I'll tell you a quick story to explain it. Yesterday I was in the hospital to check my larynx to show that I was healthy, and in came a senior lab technician. He was in his 60s. He came up to me and he said, "Dr. Finney, I took Bio 1 from you." I didn't know who he was, so I said, "When?" He said, 1962. There's the explanation. I've been full-time research for the last 15 years. I'm a reductionist, so I'll probably be a little cryptic. I have 4 comments. I don't think the first 3 rows need it, but behind you, at least half of you are a little younger than the people in front, so it's also for them. One is, whatever you do, have a goal. If you go out into the world and you do this, that, you get nowhere. You may have to swing a little bit, but get a goal. Set a goal. Then, have a dream. Or you may call it, have a vision. And that will automatically, I think, almost send you into a direction. And then maybe one of the most important things is, don't give up. I can give you many stories about that, but not this morning. Last thing is, have fun. If you're not having fun, do something else. So that is my wish to you. Congratulations, everybody.
Goldberg.
Most of you don't know that Bernie Finney put out the lights on campus at UCLA digging his corn plants in 1947. It's been here that long. Sorry, Bernie. You know, it's really been for all of us a tremendous honor and a privilege to be your teachers. And in the final analysis, really all we've done is open the door and show you a little bit about how cells work and differentiate and do their thing. But really you have walked through that door by your research, by studying really, really hard, by your dedication, perseverance, and as Pamela said, working in a really, really, really tough major. But as a great American philosopher and statesman once said, who a park down the road is named for, Will Rogers, just because you're on the right track doesn't mean you can sit there. Because if you do, you get run over. And so I have a challenge to you, and it was the same challenge that Bernie Finney gave you, and that is dream big dreams. Have big visions. Climb the highest mountains that you can climb. Don't ever accept mediocrity. Always, always, always strive for excellence. Think about the infinite possibilities of what can be done, not what should be done. Use your education in science.
Professor Luisa Iruela Arispe.
All right, mission accomplished. It is really with great satisfaction that we, the faculty, stand here in front of you today to see you complete a chapter of your life, just to open one immediately after today. You graduate today with a major in molecular cell and developmental biology. You represent the potential, the promise, and the hope for the advancement of this discipline and what it will become in years to come. What will it be called 10 years, 20 years from now? It's up to you. It's all up to you. Now, this graduation comes with responsibility. A responsibility that I really hope you embrace. The responsibility to carry on and to advance this discipline on what you will do with your lives from now on. There's also another responsibility that I also hope you will embrace, and that is to educate the public on what it means to study molecular cell and developmental biology. This is a very important responsibility, and it really is up to each of us to educate all around the people around us and the society as to the importance of study of cells and what this means to humanity in general, to advancements of medicine, and to our understanding, our basic understanding of how we and the organisms around us work. Now, this is relatively easy, having this major, and I tell you why. I call MCDB the wow major, because it has a wow effect. That is, when you are up and flying to go to Bethesda, wherever you're going, and you sit right next to someone, and they ask you, well, what do you do? And you say, oh, I just graduated, and oh, what was your major? Molecular cell and developmental biology. And say, wow. Now, that is your clue. That is your opportunity to say, well, let me tell you about this. This is such a really cool major. And the discipline is phenomenal, and you need to learn about this because it plays fundamental roles in our lives all around. So embrace that responsibility, because truly it is up to us to educate, and now you have it. Now it's up to you to pass this on. People around you and society in general. So embrace those two responsibilities. I cannot really top the words that have been spoken already. Have fun, enjoy it, and go on. Now it's up to you. Congratulations.
And now, here's Jeannie.
Hello. I have 3 things to say, and I'll try to make it brief. The first thing is thank you. As many of you know, this was a particularly difficult year for me. I lost my 27-year-old nephew. He was my running partner and my racquetball partner, and he was my art and music teacher. I wouldn't have known anything about Motherwell or Burning Spear if it weren't for David. He was also the dishwasher in my lab. 2 days after his death, I needed to come and give a lecture to MCDB 104. And I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I already missed him so much, and I especially missed looking into his face and seeing his young, loving, and compassionate spirit holding me in his gaze. As I started my lecture, I broke down, but when the tears cleared, I looked into your faces, and I saw your young and loving and compassionate spirits holding me in your gaze, as I do now. And I know, and I knew now, that I would be okay. I'm so glad to know each and every one of you, as students in 104 and the students who have worked in my lab. I'm sure your friends and your family will agree with me. This world is a more wonderful place because you are all here. Thank you so much. Okay, the second thing is, I just want to emphasize what so many people have said before me, and that is that you are the hope of the future. My best marathon time was 4.5 hours, and that was when I was in my 30s. And now that I'm in my greater than 30s, I heard of a new running philosophy that I've adopted, which is start slow and then ease off. So, it's obviously time that I pass.
Okay, folks, we are all done. Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations, parents, friends, and relatives. I wish you all the success in your life. Thank you very much.
Ya, le dije que le estoy diciendo quién eres.
We're going to record more here, part 2, graduation number 2. Con la wonderful Janet Hernandez and the Miss Berta Hernandez over there, Jennifer Berta Hernandez, yes. Hola, baby. Congratulations, dijo la señora en la puerta.
Where's the camera?
Me! I have the camera.
That's not
Oh well.
lock it.
Bye.
Lock it.
Otra vez. Ahí vamos.
It's right there, right? Like that? Do you want to go get her letters? What letters? Where? Yeah, like a HDZ for Hernandez. The student store, remember? It's just over there. Okay. You want to go? Sure. Daddy.
Red La Raza graduation para Jennifer Berta Hernández.
Y especialmente a mi esposo. Hey, what thanks? You found it. Keep it, you keep it.
Buenas tardes. Es nuestro honor darles la bienvenida a esta 30ª graduación anual de la raza en la Universidad de California, Los Ángeles. Queremos agradecerle a usted su presencia hoy en este día, a nuestros amigos, familiares y muy en especial a todas las mamás y papás que hoy presencian el fruto de muchos años de esfuerzo, apoyo y sacrificio.
Can I please ask the class of 2003 to please sit? It is our honor to welcome you to the 30th annual Raza graduation at UCLA. Let's hear some noise. We'd like to thank each and every one of you here today, especially friends, family members, and the mothers and fathers that have been through a long and tedious process with these students here today. Your sacrifices, struggles, and supports will blossom before your eyes in the next couple of hours. So thank you for being here.
Antes de dar inicio, vamos a recibir a Andrea Arias y Jacqueline González, que nos van a brindar unas palabras.
Bienvenidos. Es un placer extender mil gracias a todos por encontrarse aquí con nosotros en este día donde celebramos la 30ª graduación de la raza. Welcome to all. It is my great pleasure to extend a million thanks to all of you for being present with us for our 30th annual Raza graduation. Mi nombre es Andrea Arias Pérez, una de las coorganizadoras de esta graduación y también parte de la clase del 2003. A mi lado se encuentra Jacqueline González, la otra coorganizadora de este evento que se recibirá en el año 2004. Okay. Y ahora, para continuar con el programa, les quisiéramos presentar a nuestros maestros de ceremonia, José de Jesús Gutiérrez y María Lucero Ortiz. To continue our program, I would like to present our masters of ceremony, José de Jesús Gutiérrez y María Lucero Ortiz. ¡Feliz Día de los Padres! Happy Father's Day!
Un fuerte aplauso a Andrea y a Jackie.
So we get a big round of applause for Andrea and Jackie and all of their efforts throughout this year.
También queremos reconocer en esta tarde a nuestros profesores que hoy nos honran con su presencia. Acompáñenme en darle la bienvenida al profesor Reinaldo Macías, profesor de Chicano Studies aquí en UCLA.
We'd also like to recognize and thank the professors and individuals that honor us with their presence today. Please join me in welcoming Polly Cruz Nakash from the Chicano and Chicana Studies Department.
También nos acompaña esta tarde la profesora Chris Gutiérrez del Departamento de Educación.
We also have Professor Daniel Solórzano from the Department of Education.
Y al profesor César Ayala del Departamento de Sociología.
And we also have Paulina de Sahun from the Chicano and Chicana Studies Department.
La La inspiración de estos profesores en esta universidad y comunidad han sido una de las causas por lo que hoy se gradúan más de 320 estudiantes de la Universidad de California en Los Ángeles.
The grand inspiration and guidance of these professors, along with other members of this university and our community, are one of the reasons that today we graduate more than 320 RASA students from the University of California in Los Angeles.
Hoy, 15 de junio de 1900, ya estamos en el 2003. 15 de junio de 2003 se gradúan más de 320 estudiantes que han sabido desafiar obstáculos como el de ser inmigrantes en este país, de venir de familias campesinas y obreros de fábrica, y en varios casos ser estudiantes indocumentados.
Graduates. We have individuals that have overcome great challenges, such as the lack of educational resources in working class communities, coming from migrant farm families, and in some cases, being an undocumented student.
Aún más, tenemos a varios compañeros y compañeras que han enfrentado y sobresalido retos como de ser estudiante y a la misma vez ser padre o madre de familia, o aquellos que aún han tenido una incapacidad física y no les ha sido motivo para que les impida graduarse de tan prestigiosa universidad. Hoy celebramos estos triunfos y todos los éxitos que estos futuros doctores y doctoras, abogadas, maestros, científicos, políticos y fuertes miembros de nuestra comunidad lograrán en próximo futuro.
Furthermore, many of our colleagues here today are working full-time or multiple jobs. Others are husbands, wives, or parents. Others may have physical handicaps that make the act of getting an education at this university difficult, but not impossible. All of you here sitting today before us are living examples of perseverance and success. Today, we celebrate all of these triumphs and the many successes that these future doctors, lawyers, educators, scientists, politicians, and fierce community members will accomplish in the near future.
De esta manera damos inicio a la ceremonia haciendo hincapié al tema de la clase del 2003, que es celebrando nuestra cultura y recordando nuestro compromiso a nuestra gente y futuras generaciones.
Si tienen ganas de aplaudir, aplaudan, ¿ok?
No se queden con las ganas.
This is your graduation. If you feel a need to jump up with joy, please do. Please do. We want to hear it.
Estamos en una celebración de latinos. Hay que no estar callados.
Al cabo, si llegan a la casa a las 10, allá ustedes, ¿no? Like Jose was saying, with the utmost pride and respect, we would like to officially give start to this year's celebration while taking a brief moment to reflect on this year's theme, celebrating our culture by commemorating our commitment to our people and our future generations.
Quiero presentar en este momento a María Lucero Ortiz, maestra de ceremonias de esta tarde. Lucero se recibió de esta universidad en el 2002 con una licenciatura en Desarrollo Internacional y Estudios Chicanas. Actualmente ella es directora de Educación Comunitaria con Maldev, que es el Fondo Mexicoamericano para la Defensa Legal y Educación. Ella aboga para que los estudiantes latinos, y en especial aquellos estudiantes indocumentados, tengan la oportunidad de asistir y recibirse de universidades como la de UCLA. Es un honor compartir este escenario contigo.
Muchas gracias, José. Al igual es un honor estar aquí con todos ustedes, en especial con mi compañero. Now I'd like to introduce José de Jesus Gutierrez, Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon. José graduated from UCLA in 2000 with a degree in International Economics and a double minor in Education and Chicano and Chicana Studies. After UCLA, he attended the University of Michigan for a year of graduate work, and currently he is a small business owner and serves as the director for the Hispanic Scholarship Fund in the Central Valley, where he empowers Latino students to pursue higher education. Please help me in welcoming José.
Queremos aprovechar este breve momento para felicitar nuevamente a todos los padres aquí presentes hoy en su día. A una excelente amiga, a una excelente estudiante y una excelente líder. Démosle la bienvenida a la directora de la Meche de UCLA, Elizabeth Delgado.
We'd like to continue this afternoon celebration by presenting an excellent friend, an excellent student, and an excellent community leader. Please join me in welcoming Naui, as many of us know her, this year Mecha de UCLA's chair, Elizabeth Delgado.
Buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Let me hear it to class of 2003. On behalf of Mecha de UCLA, we'd like to welcome all parents, family, and friends to UCLA, and would like to extend my congratulations to all graduates of the class of 2003. This year has been filled with both challenges and triumphs. And as students at UCLA, we have made sure that our voices have been continually heard in and outside of these ivory towers of the university. We started off 2003 with the continued grief, mourning the tens and thousands of victims throughout the world as consequence of this so-called war on terrorism. In February and March, the Los Angeles community uprose in solidarity with the rest of the world to denounce the international atrocities from Iraq to Afghanistan to the Philippines to Colombia. And while those abroad are victims and guerrilleras and guerrilleros of the so-called war on terrorism, domestically, there is a war being waged at home, in our backyards, in our comunidades, with the healthcare and educational systems being the hardest hit because of the deprioritization that has shifted the services that our communities need the most to the prioritization of military spending. This has all taken the toll with the decrease of our student services, coupled with the increase of policies that continue to push our gente out of this university, where our numbers are dwindling year after year. With the elimination of affirmative action in California, the number of Chicanas and Chicanos at UCLA has decreased substantially. Thus, this decrease does not fit to par. After census data show that by the year 2010, Raza will compromise more than 50% of the total population growth of the United States. All of these facts and figures have been a motivating factor for many of us to get involved in many Raza organizations that have made our experience at UCLA even more meaningful. Organizations such as the Latin American Student Association, Hermanas Unidas, Conciencia Libre, Gamma Zeta Alpha, Raza Women, the Society of Latino Engineers and Scientists, the Latino Student Business Association, Chicanas and Chicanos for Community Medicine, and last but certainly not least, Mecha de UCLA. All of these organizations and every single graduate here has experienced a year filled with celebrations and commencements as well, and commemorations as well, Well, this has been the continued and successful campaign to obtain living wages and benefits for workers here at UCLA that has certainly kept the university accountable to the struggle for social justice for all, to the 10-year commemoration of the hunger strikes that resulted in the Cesar E. Chavez Center for Interdisciplinary Instruction in Chicana and Chicano Studies, to the 30th anniversary commemorating the successful completion of undergraduate and graduate careers at Raza here at UCLA. We have all been a crucial factor for the continuation of these successful campaigns and of the continuation and expansion of the programs that have been fought for with our Gentes blood and tears. Every single one of you should be proud of graduating from an institution where its students continue to carry forward a strong legacy of activism. Whether we came in as freshmen, transfer students, or graduate students, we all share a common responsibility as Raza graduates to continue to open the doors to our brothers and sisters coming after us to be able to ensure the struggle for justice and equality for all. Remember that this is only one step in our journey. Don't forget to consistently engage in the act of praxis, the act of reflection and action. This way, remembering where we came from, those that came before us, in order to continue our journey forward. Congratulations and much luck to the class of 2003. Adelante, Raza.
Es un gran orgullo ver a tantas familias latinas reunidas el día de hoy para celebrar los logros de todos los estudiantes que hoy nos graduamos. Muchísimas gracias a todos aquellos que creyeron en nosotros y en nuestros sueños. Gracias a nuestras familias y amigos por apoyarnos en los momentos más difíciles. Hoy, en la 30ª graduación de la Raza, venimos a celebrar que a pesar de todos los obstáculos que se nos presentaron, nunca nos dimos por vencidos hasta lograr nuestras metas. Sin embargo, hoy también es un día para recordar que la lucha sigue para que otros estudiantes como nosotros tengan la oportunidad de entrar a la universidad y esforzarse por un futuro mejor. Tengo confianza que cada uno de nosotros, junto con nuestra comunidad, continuará esta lucha para abrirle la puerta a los demás. Al reflexionar sobre qué es lo más importante que he aprendido aquí, no me cabe duda que es el entender la gran importancia de utilizar mi capacidad y esfuerzos para mejorar la vida de mi gente. He aprendido de todos mis compañeros, a los que he visto trabajar arduamente para sobresalir en sus estudios, pero también para influenciar positivamente la vida de los demás. Durante mi segundo año, trabajé con un gran grupo de estudiantes por largas horas, organizando un festival de niños, de más de 1000 niños y para sus padres. He visto constantemente que mis compañeros inician y organizan programas para motivar y ayudar a los estudiantes en la secundaria y en la preparatoria. En pocas palabras, los estudiantes de la UCLA, aparte de no se olvidan de su gente y de sus raíces. Es por ello que han sido una gran inspiración para mí y lo continuarán siendo para nuestras futuras generaciones, porque la lucha sigue. No hay que olvidarnos que las oportunidades que hoy disfrutamos son el fruto de los esfuerzos de nuestra comunidad en el pasado. Cuando recuerdo que en un pasado no muy lejano no podíamos entrar a ciertos restaurantes o ciertas universidades por ser latinos, o que no existen muchos recursos de ayuda financiera para nuestros estudiantes, entonces es cuando me doy cuenta que sí hemos progresado poco a poco debido al gran esfuerzo de generaciones anteriores. Por ejemplo, la huelga de hambre que 8 estudiantes y un profesor llevaron a cabo por 14 días aquí en la UCLA en 1993 logró establecer el Centro César Chávez de Estudios de Chicanas y Chicanos. Es por medio de este centro que he podido aprender sobre mi historia, mi identidad y mi compromiso con mi comunidad. Pero todo esto no hubiera podido ser posible sin el esfuerzo de aquellos líderes que creyeron en sus ideales y que demostraron convicción. En realidad, ellos nos enseñaron que el poder de cambiar las cosas está en nuestras manos. Esta es la herencia que se ha pasado de generación en generación desde hace 30 años, cuando se empezó a celebrar la graduación de la raza y que hoy debemos de continuar. Al mismo tiempo que hoy celebramos la culminación de esta etapa en nuestra carrera, hoy también cada uno de nosotros empezamos un nuevo camino. Algunos continuarán sus estudios, otros se dedicarán a su profesión, mientras que otros tal vez empiecen sus propias familias. Pero independientemente del rumbo que tomemos, lo importante es que continuemos manteniendo ese compromiso que empezamos aquí con nuestra gente. Nosotros debemos continuar fundando las bases que harán la vida de nuestras generaciones futuras mejor. Debemos de ayudar a aquellos estudiantes que tienen el mismo sueño que nosotros un día tuvimos y que hoy se hace realidad.
La graduación de la raza de UCLA es un evento incorporado en su totalidad por los estudiantes y como tal, los estudiantes eligen a un orador que se ha distinguido como voz de la comunidad, como líder latino, como mentor y como amigo. En esta ocasión nos privilegiamos con la presencia de no solo uno, sino dos oradores de honor, Patricia González y Roberto Rodríguez.
students. And it is these students who have the honor to select a speaker, who to them is a community leader, a mentor, and a friend. This year, we have the honor to have not just one, but two keynote speakers, Patricia González and Roberto Rodríguez.
Patricia González y Roberto Rodríguez han hecho contribuciones desde 1994 para el Syndicated Column of the Americas, en donde ofrecen un punto de vista único con respecto a temas de interés general, al igual que asuntos que afectan en especial a la gente de nuestro continente. Ambos han residido tanto en El Paso, Texas, como en Albuquerque, Nuevo México. En 1997 fueron electos al Salón de la Fama de Escritores. En 1998 fueron reconocidos por parte de la Oficina de los Derechos Humanos de Albuquerque por su labor en cuestiones de derechos humanos. En este mismo año fungieron como University of California Regents Lecturers, ofreciendo cátedra en la Universidad de California en San Diego. También en 1998 descubrieron una serie de mapas locales que han ayudado en localizar el antiguo hogar de los aztecas, con lo que hoy conocemos como el estado de Utah. Tal descubrimiento es el tema de dos documentos titulados El regreso a nuestro origen y En busca de Aztlán. Asimismo, tal descubrimiento servirá para la base de 3 libros que serán publicados en un futuro no muy lejano.
Conocemos como los Estados Unidos del Suroeste, no somos inmigrantes, somos gente indígena de este continente y pertenecemos aquí en esta tierra. Como gente indígena, siempre empezamos con un rezo a gracias a todos los elementos, a nuestras madres y padres y todos los abuelos y abuelas que están aquí y que no están aquí, que están allá en el otro mundo con los espíritus. It is said in our original instructions in the Huehuetlatoli that a wise person had a heart and a face. Not a heart. No pedo. They had a heart and a face. Inyolot inishli. And un buen maestro gave you a heart and a face. I hope that in these 4 years you had those maestros. And I hope that you have and you leave here con una cara, un corazón. Que quiere decir que son gente de corazones firmes, de carácter firme. Porque como dicen las abuelas, allá las abuelitas de México, like it or not, you must enter the struggle. And so in our old instructions, we were told, when a long time ago, 500 years ago, when the Españoles came, that it came a time of darkness. And in the time of darkness, our mothers and fathers would be our maestros, and our homes would be nuestros templos sagrados. Y también dijeron que iba a venir una luz. Y ya los abuelos dicen que ahora es la luz. Ahora es un nuevo sol. And this is your creation story. This is your time to create. No es un tiempo de resistencia, es un tiempo de creación. Aunque lo que está pasando ahorita ya también está predicado o ya está visto por los abuelos, que dicen que now is an ending time. A time of ending, a time of destruction. But also when there is a time of destruction, there is a time to build. And you must decide if you will be with the destroyers or with the builders. In the Indian way we learn in 4 directions. We learn with our mind, we learn with our spirits, we learn through feeling, and we learn in our bodies.
And so now your learning has only begun. And I hope that you continue to learn in those 4 directions and that you balance our community, because our community is out of balance. And we need to balance the youth with the elders, the men and the women. We need to all come into balance, and that will be your papel. It is also a time of regeneration for you. As the life cycle of the world, we always know that después del invierno viene la primavera. And perhaps you felt like you've been in a winter with all these tests and staying up late, and when people told you that you weren't good enough, and people told you that you couldn't write, and yet, mira, estén aquí. Ahora es la primavera. Your winter has turned to spring. And so I just want to leave you with one more thought, and then I'm going to offer a song for you. Doña Rosario Ibarra de Piedra is one of the mothers of the disappeared de Mexico. La doña es una madre de los desaparecidos de México. Y cuando entraron los zapatistas y hicieron su revolución in 1994, she said, "We must not let the government assassinate hope." And that is what I leave with you. It is your time to create.
I was here 30 years ago when the first Raza graduation took place. I believe Renato and probably Juan Gomez Quiñones, and I'm not sure who else, but I believe they were here also. And I think they will tell you that it was not a graduation like you see today. The graduation 30 years ago was a protest. And it was the ugliest thing I ever saw in my entire life. Because our graduates stood before the audience. They got their hats and threw them to the audience in protest. And the audience threw them back, and in the most vile way you could think of. I mean, the most ugliest, said everything they could, shouted everything they could, and chased the Raza out of the stadium. I don't mean physically, but our presence was not welcome. And so to stand before you today, this is where Luau Center used to play. Wow, it's incredible. All the first graduates, all the entire audience would have fit in this row, this section here. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Like my wife gave you a song, I offer the graduates a drum. And I must warn you, the first time that I used this drum, and several times thereafter, It attracts eagles, deer, and horses. So close the exits, please. Again, for the graduates. This always happens when Patricia and I speak anywhere. We usually forget everything we were going to say, so I wrote a few notes, and if I forget anything, it's okay, because there's only one thing I really want to say to everyone here. That is, what this is an honoring. This whole ceremonia here, it's an honoring. Something that many within our own communities have forgotten what an honoring is. I remember one time saluting and honoring Rudy Acuña and Ruben Martinez and one other person, and I introduced them as elders, and everybody made fun of them like if I had called them, viejitos. It's like our own communities have forgotten how to honor our own elders. But as I said, this is an honoring. So the first honoring I would like, and I've done that already, and I would like the audience to please honor the graduates today. And the faculty and guests here to stand up and honor those who made it possible for you to be here. There's a third honoring I want to do. Both my wife and I were very moved yesterday at the Chavez celebration. We heard a young brother, he's probably in the audience, who spoke about 20 of his brothers in his community, in his barrio, being killed by gang warfare. And so I wanted to honor, and I wanted all of us, everyone here, to honor all the brothers, all the sisters in prison, and those that are dead, who should be here with you. I wanted to honor the Raza Graduation Committee, honor Becha, and I wanted to personally honor every Liz and every Erica graduating, because I think everybody here's named Erica or Liz. So all of you, thank you. Now there's one other honoring I'd like to make before I get to what I'm supposed to talk about, and that is to Juan Fernandez. He was the first graduate of Chicano Studies at this university. I went to school with him, and today he's here graduating as PhD. in bringing labor and the community together to found the Cesar Chavez Center. As I mentioned when we saw the ceremony yesterday, and even today, we saw a lot of hurt. You know, almost everybody came up and started crying. And it reminded me when I was a student, reminded me of 72 and all the way my 4 years. And it reminded me of a quote, actually 2 quotes. Let's see if I can get all this in. First quote is, I remember listening or hearing one time, they said, you know, when the Europeans first came here, they had the Bible and we had the land. Now we have the Bible, they got the land. I have another friend, Barbara Gonzalez, who also said, when Europeans first came to this continent, they asked, or our ancestors asked, are they gods? And the Europeans responded, are they human? And I would submit that 511 years after Columbus, Cortez, and all those that came here, that they're still asking that of us here and today. But I'm very proud because I am part of that generation that I spoke about earlier about the founding of Chicano Studies. Because Chicano Studies, Raza Studies, Native Studies, Black African Studies, Women's Studies, we all responded. We all have been responding. And we no longer ask if they're gods, and we no longer ask if we're human. We know we're human. You know, we no longer about whether we're human or not, but whether we're human beings or spiritual beings. And how you answer that question will determine how you will live your life. Nobody can answer that question for you except yourself. I've answered it, and I have no doubt whatsoever that we are spiritual beings. And based on that, based on my learning and my teachings that I've been given, I've come to the belief that all life is sacred. But that belief of all life is sacred, or whether we're spiritual beings or whether we're human beings, it's not a polemical or a philosophical question. It is how you will live hereafter. I took a lot of time in honoring, and so I'm going to skip a lot because that was more important. But I do want to leave you with one thought. Everybody here, whoever joined an organization, whether it was MECHA or CCM or Latino Business, whomever, you know that all of you were and have been warriors. You know that because of everything that you had to do. But you also hear, like say when you listen to my wife, you know that many of you are also healers. And the challenge that I want to give you is to walk out of here, not as warriors and not as healers, but as warrior healers. Now you may ask, what is a warrior healer? It is someone that absolutely fights against injustices, but also someone that creates. And what will you create? Nobody can answer that but yourself. Obetel. It's very good.
Residents tell.
Glad I went with the group.
Ese miserable no believes this.
Which further proceedings was postponed.
The gold coin!